What's up guys? Today I'm going to talk about how to reduce your video file size. Before we start, we should know what impacts video file size. Here are the most common things that you can do as part of the quality of the video that you can reduce to impact the size of your video. Okay, so mostly video files are very heavy with resources. Um, First thing we need to take note of is the display resolution. Display resolution is the size of the video. To give you an idea of what this is, if you go to YouTube, it's this thing here. Okay, if you click it, it's the height of the video, the dimensions of the video while it's showing. Okay, right now I'm using 720p. I would recommend using Full HD or 1080p as opposed to 720p if you're working with texts or you're showing texts to your audience. But if you don't really need it, it's best to settle for 420p. 240p is called potato, so it's really ugly right now and it's very difficult to watch. So I wouldn't recommend using that. That's when it started at the beginning, when YouTube started. Okay, so the next is aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is if you're using a wide screen or just a standard screen. If you don't really need to, just use a standard 3:2 aspect ratio. It's the height to width of the video. Okay, frame rate is how many frames per second. That's why they call it FPS. The video records. So a video is just technically a series of shots that's taken from uh, in 1 second. FPS shows us how many frames or how many pictures are taken per second. To give you an idea what that is, if we go to Media Encoder, here are a couple of frame rate samples. Okay, and when you go to After Effects, you can go to here, frames per second. Okay, so the eye can distinguish more than 16 frames per second. But you know, you can have GIFs that GIFs or whatever you want to call them, which is just one frame per like 1 second or zero point 0.5 seconds or zero point 0.1 seconds depending on how you set it up. And then the next is audio. The more channels it uses and then the more channels it records on, or it's set up to play with, the more size the file of the video is gonna be. Okay, and then the last is going to be format. Oh, sorry, of course, this is self-explanatory length. You know, of course, if you have a longer video, it's gonna take more time. Just really self-explanatory. But going back to format, format is how the computer interprets the file, the data. So you might hear the word codec. Codec actually means decode. It's how computers read and write audio and video. Okay, so right now I'm using AVI. What is this here? AVI. It's the, you know, for me, what I found out, it's the least smallest size of a decent quality I can use to show my videos. Okay. Okay, right, so when you're creating a video, there are a couple of things you need to change from the process. So you can change it from, let's say, how your camera, your video cam, your DSLR, or your computer is recording it with. For example, in this one, I'm using the frame rate can be changed here. Okay, YouTube has a limit of YouTube limit is 30 frames per second right now. So I think there are talks about how to increase that right now, but Vimeo has 60 frames per second. I don't really use that because YouTube has that limit, so even if I do upload at 60 frames per second, YouTube will just show 30 frames per second. Given from me changing from analog to digital, there's this 29.97 and not exactly the same frames per second given per, for the videos. There's also that full size and half size, but that's gonna be a different thing. um, Audio, I can change audio not with this. Okay, so for input, I can change it from how my computer records what I'm recording now, or how my camera or my video cam records it. Of course, there's editing. Now when I go to editing, I use usually After Effects. Is that After Effects? Okay, so I can change it also from here. The frame rate can be changed here. And then I can change it from while I'm rendering. So from media encoder, I can change it from here. So here are my presets. When I have a file I want to render, it's here, and I go here. Okay, so when you're rendering it, let's say you want to render only the audio. Okay, wanna edit the audio only. You can export only the audio, and then the file just becomes an audio, and you lose all the video. Here I have an audio and video setting, so the audio is exported. Okay, and then the video is also exported. I can change I can change the display resolution and how many frames per second it is from here. So that's when I'm changing it from render or output. When you're watching, so for example, you've already uploaded a video and you're watching and you just want to change it, it's from here. Okay, so just strictly speaking for YouTube. So if you want to change, so we already know what impacts file size. If we want to know how it impacts size and what we do to prevent it, that's what I'm going to discuss next. Next is display resolution. Of course, again, I recommend sticking to 720 or 1080p. The smaller it is, the smaller of the height of the display resolution is. Of course, the smaller the video. Aspect ratio, it's pretty controversial if this is going to be part of it, but it's just preference that I use 16 to 9 because that's the video resolution of my monitor right now. I would recommend just using 3:2. FPS, if you're just, I would strongly recommend 30 frames per second. Our eyes have not evolved past that yet. Audio, it would be best to record everything under one channel, export everything under one channel, because not everybody has complex sound systems which they can play back the sounds. So it's understood like a one channel is broadcasted under all the speakers. Okay, format, again, I would recommend just using code AVI. You can use other like MPEG or Windows Media Audio. Sorry, Windows Media Video. Files, which could be better, but technically I just choose a smaller one. Length is sometimes not really something that you can change while you're recording a video, unless you want to sacrifice some of the content. But I want to keep my videos short. So that's it. Those are the things that we could do to change the video file size. Okay, so thanks for watching. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up at the bottom, like, and share it with your friends. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'll respond as quickly as I can. You can contact me through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or wherever. I respond really quickly sometimes. So share it with your friends if this helps you. I hope you favorite it. Subscribe to my channel. Have a great day, and thank you for listening.